In The Lion King 1994 animated, the story begins at dawn on the African savanna as the animals gather for a royal ceremony at Pride Rock. The reigning king Mufasa presents his newborn son Simba to the kingdom, marking the next link in what Mufasa calls the circle of life. From the start, Simba is a bundle of energy and curiosity, convinced that being king means doing whatever he wants. Mufasa, strong but gentle, tries to guide him with patience, teaching him that leadership isn't about power, it's about responsibility. Watching all of this from the shadows is Mufasa's brother, Scar, a resentful, calculating lion who believes the throne should have been his. Scar doesn't just dislike Mufasa, he hates the entire order that keeps him second. Simba's closest friend is Nala, who's just as adventurous and far more practical. Together they roam the Pride Lands looking for trouble, and trouble finds them when Scar deliberately plants an idea in Simba's head. There's a place called the Elephant Graveyard where no cubs are allowed. Scar knows exactly what he's doing, turning Simba's curiosity into a weapon. Simba and Nala sneak out, and they're quickly cornered by hungry hyenas led by Shenzi, along with Banz and Eid. The cubs are moments from being killed when Mufasa arrives and drives the hyenas off, furious not because Simba explored, but because he risked his life and Nala. Later, in a quiet moment under the stars, Mufasa explains the balance of the world and tells Simba that the great kings of the past watch over them from the sky. It's a comforting idea, but it also becomes a promise. Simba isn't alone, and his choices matter. Scar, however, is done waiting. He allies himself with the hyenas, offering them food and access to the Pride Lands in exchange for their loyalty. His plan is simple: remove Mufasa and Simba, then take the throne. He lures Simba into a gorge under the excuse of a surprise and signals the hyenas to stampede a herd of wildebeest straight through the narrow passage. Simba is trapped as the stampede thunders toward him. Mufasa races in, saving Simba at the last second and fighting his way up the cliff as the herd crashes below. He manages to cling to the ledge, and for a moment it looks like he'll survive until Scar appears. Mufasa begs his brother for help. Scar leans in, whispers a final betrayal, and throws Mufasa into the stampede to his death. Scar's cruelty doesn't end there. He finds Simba and uses grief like a knife, telling the cub the tragedy was his fault. Simba is shattered, confused, and drowning in guilt. Scar orders the hyenas to kill Simba, but Simba escapes and runs into the desert, collapsing from exhaustion. Scar returns to Pride Rock and announces that both Mufasa and Simba are dead, positioning himself as the only possible ruler. The hyenas become his muscle, and the Pride Lands begin to change under his reign, from a thriving kingdom into a bleak, starving wasteland. Simba, meanwhile, stumbles into a new life far away. He's found by Timon and Pumbaa, two unlikely friends who rescue him and raise him in a lush jungle. They teach him their carefree philosophy, Hakuna Matata, meaning no worries. For Simba, it's more than a catchphrase, it's permission to stop thinking about the past. He grows into a young adult in the jungle, joking, eating, and avoiding responsibility, as if the word itself might reopen the wound Scar left behind. But the past doesn't disappear just because you stop looking at it. It waits. Years later, Nala, now grown, leaves the ruined Pride Lands searching for help. Scar's rule has driven the kingdom to the edge of collapse, no food, no hope, and hyenas everywhere. When Nala reaches the jungle and finds Simba alive, it feels like a miracle. Simba, stunned to see her, is pulled back into the reality he's been running from. Nala is furious when she realizes he's been hiding while their home suffers. She tells him Scar is king, the land is dying, and the pride needs Simba. Simba refuses. The guilt is still sitting on his chest like a stone, and he can't imagine returning just to face what he believes he did. Nala leaves devastated, convinced he's chosen comfort over duty. Simba's inner conflict reaches a breaking point when Rafiki, the kingdom's wise old guide, finds him. Rafiki does comfort Simba with softness. He challenges him. He leads Simba to a quiet pool and tells him to look closer. Simba sees his own reflection, and then, as if the world itself is speaking, he sees Mufasa's spirit in the sky. Mufasa reminds Simba who he is, the rightful king, the son who carries a legacy, and a part of the circle he cannot abandon. Simba breaks down, finally admitting his fear and shame, but the message is clear: running from the past won't fix it, facing it might. Simba returns to the Pride Lands with Timon and Pumbaa, arriving to find devastation. The grass is gone, the water is scarce, and the pride is weak and demoralized. Scar lounges on Pride Rock surrounded by hyenas, ruling through intimidation while blaming the lionesses for their failure to hunt. When Simba confronts Scar, Scar tries the same manipulation he used years ago, pressing Simba's guilt, trying to make him kneel under the weight of a lie. For a moment, Simba wavers. Then the truth begins to crack. In the confrontation, Scar accidentally reveals too much and Simba realizes what really happened. Scar killed Mufasa. That revelation flips Simba's grief into rage and clarity. The fight explodes into open battle between lions and hyenas as lightning splits the sky and fire spreads through the dry land. Scar, cornered, attempts one last trick. He tries to blame the hyenas, offering Simba a fake apology and a bargain. Simba refuses to be manipulated again. Scar turns to flee, but the hyenas, finally realizing he's been using them and hearing him betray them, turn on him. Scar is dragged away as Pride Rock burns and the storm rages overhead. When the fight ends, the rain finally falls, extinguishing the fire and washing the land clean. The final sequence brings the story full circle. Simba takes his place as king, not as a reckless cub chasing glory, but as someone who understands the weight of leadership. The Pride lands begin to recover, green returning where ash and dust had been. Life returns to its rhythm. And in a mirror of the opening scene, Simba and Nala present their newborn cub from Pride Rock as the animals gather once again, signaling that the circle of life continues, and that even after betrayal and loss, the land can heal when the rightful balance is restored.